Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is releasing very soon, and we've put together a list of things you should know before picking it up. So today on gameranx, here are 10 things you need to know about Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Starting at number 10, I'm sure you saw this point coming because it's something that's a thing in all games now, and that's season passes and post-launch content. This is definitely going to upset most players because most of them prefer to spend $60 on a game and get all the content there is to get for it. Both development costs going up and keeping games like this up and running being more expensive than ever, unfortunately season passes and post-launch content is just something to expect at this point. It's looking like there isn't any pay-to-win stuff, which is definitely nice, that's a good sign. No one wants another Battlefront 2 fiasco, but for additional maps, you will have to pick up the season pass. As of right now, there's no plans to sell map packs separately, and you have to buy the season pass to get everything. Also, as of right now, a few weeks before launch, there's no way to buy the season pass. Instead, it only comes in certain editions of the game. But I'd be very surprised if they didn't sell it on its own once the game launches. Most players were hoping that Black Ops 4 would take the Overwatch approach to post-launch content, but that doesn't seem to be the case here, unfortunately. Moving on to number 9, signature weapons are a new kind of weapon being introduced in Black Ops 4. These are weapons that have really elaborate cosmetic designs and don't offer any sort of advantage gameplay-wise. Each weapon is a variant of a base weapon that everyone already has access to, and these are unlocked by completing challenges, with different challenges giving you different rewards, all while working your way up to the final masterwork weapon. This really isn't anything but bragging rights. The weapons work exactly the same as the base weapons, but just have a pretty paint job. But I guess if you see someone running around with one of these, you know they've sunk a lot of time into the game, so maybe be a little wary of them if you come across them in a match, because chances are they're really good. And at number 8, Black Ops 4 is making some small, subtle changes to how it plays. One of those new changes is the guns still up system, which is literally what it sounds like. Your guns are always up, no matter what you're doing. Activating a kill streak reward only takes one hand now, and you can fire your gun with the other. Getting ready to throw a grenade and cooking it a bit, guns still up there as well. No matter what you're doing, your gun will always be up and ready to fire, which does change the pace of the game just a little bit and makes it a little bit more fast-paced. This, mixed with some of the other smaller changes, may do more than we think to change up the Call of Duty multiplayer formula. And at number 7, while we're on the topic of some of these small subtle changes, Fog of War is another one of those smaller additions to the game. What this does is mess with your minimap and makes it harder to see the enemy team. So now you're only able to see a short distance around you. So unless an enemy is like borderline on top of you, you won't know if they're there. So turning corners just got that much more scary. If you have an ability or you're using an operator with a special piece of equipment, this won't affect you, but for every other circumstance, your minimap is pretty limited. It's cool to see Treyarch trying to change things up a little bit for the multiplayer, even if it is in the smallest of ways. And at number 6, and this is the last small change being made, and it's actually one of the bigger, smaller changes, if that makes any sense, healing yourself works a little bit differently this time around. With previous Call of Duty games, you healed automatically over time, but this time, it's something you as a player have to physically do by pressing a button. This may not seem like a big deal, but it's going to become an essential part of the gameplay loop. I, for one, think it's a really great change, and I think it's really going to change the way we play it. I really think it's going to be as essential as reloading your gun after a firefight, and I, for one, welcome this tiny change with open arms. This may not seem like a big deal, but it's going to become an essential part of the gameplay loop. Moving on to number 5, Treyarch is putting an emphasis on classes this time around, and their abilities matter more now than ever. Instead of rigs, we're getting specialists, and each specialist has their own set of skills and equipment. The point here is to definitely select your specialists with other players in mind. Pairing up certain specialists can do some serious damage. Similar to how it works with Rainbow Six Siege, where certain operators complement each other very well. One thing that is pretty big though is the fact that each team can only have one of each specialist, so you can't have a team with everyone running Torque. So it's smart to be somewhat experienced with all the specialists here because you very well may not be able to play as your favorite one. I'm really into this, and I think this may help fight the lone wolf thing. Now it really makes more sense than ever to work as a team and pair up specialists to get that tactical advantage. And at number 4, this is something I'm sure you all know by now, and it's something that's been a bit controversial since its announcement, and that's the fact that Black Ops 4 will not feature a single-player campaign. This is definitely a huge bummer because I personally have always enjoyed playing the Call of Duty campaigns. They're usually a lot of fun and you can fly through them in a weekend. Black Ops is also considered one of the best Call of Duty series with one of the best campaigns, so for this game to be titled Black Ops 4 and not have a campaign attached to it kind of hurts. Call of Duty campaigns are just starting to get cool again too, which is just more salt in the wound. So obviously, not having a campaign means that this is a multiplayer-centric game, and with it being a multiplayer game, Treyarch obviously has to make the multiplayer good and give us some other stuff to make up for not having a campaign. Seeing that we're still paying this $60 price, but losing a part of the package, which brings us to our next point. And at number 3, there's a bigger emphasis on zombies this time around, which I know is exciting for some people, seeing that there are players that pick up Call of Duty just for the zombies mode alone. With Black Ops 4, it seems like zombies is kind of taking place of the campaign, not 100%, but just kind of. It launches with 3 campaigns, and I'm sure more coming at a later date. There's a Voyage of Despair campaign, which has you running around the Titanic while taking on zombies. Blood of the Dead, which takes place in Alcatraz prison, and then this one that takes place in ancient Rome, and this one's really interesting because it doesn't feature any guns. You'll only be using melee weapons and bows, which is pretty different for a Call of Duty game, and it's something that I'm pretty excited for. As someone who's been playing a lot of Vermintide 2 this year, I'm totally down with taking on waves of enemies with nothing but a sword and a bow. I think that sounds really cool. Coming in at number 2, while Black Ops 4 isn't shipping with a campaign, which is a huge bummer, it is coming with a brand new mode called Blackout. This is Treyarch's take on the Battle Royale genre. When this was first announced, I was pretty interested, then after letting my hype die down a bit, I started to get into the mindset of it just being okay and something I'd maybe play for a few days. But there was a closed and then open beta for it, and after playing it for a few hours, I gotta say that the hype is back because it was actually a lot of fun. It's nothing game-changing by any means, it's still just a Battle Royale game, but it just played really nice. It's Call of Duty, so of course the gunplay is great. There's no denying that Call of Duty has some really good controlling games. The map is okay, it's a bit boring, but so is PUBG, and that still plays fine. And the perk system that they have in place and the zombies being throughout the map are just some of the small things that make it feel a little bit different than PUBG and Fortnite. While I don't see this being bigger than Fortnite because I don't think that's possible, I do think that this will beat out PUBG on Xbox specifically, seeing that that's still kind of a buggy mess there. It's definitely gotten better, don't get me wrong, but I think that Fortnite and Blackout will be the Battle Royale games to play on console. Finally, at number 1, now it's time to get some housekeeping out of the way. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 launches on PS4, Xbox One, and PC on October 12, 2018, with the PC version actually launching exclusively on Battle.net. As with every game that launches nowadays, there are a few different editions that you can pick up. Obviously, there's the standard edition that comes with just the game. Then there's the digital deluxe edition that comes with the game, bonus in-game items, 2,400 Call of Duty points, and the season pass. Then there's the digital deluxe enhanced edition, which is the same as the digital deluxe edition, but it comes with 8,500 Call of Duty points instead of the 2,400. There's also the GameStop exclusive Pro edition that comes with the season pass, a steelbook, physical goodies, and 1,100 Call of Duty points. Then we have the $200 mystery box edition that has the game, the season pass, physical goodies including a puzzle, comic, and patches, and it all comes in this big giant box. And those are 10 things you need to know about Call of Duty Black Ops 4, but we want to hear from you, so meet us down in the comments below and let us know what you think. Did any of you happen to play Blackout during the beta? We want to hear your thoughts. And how do you feel about Black Ops 4 ditching the campaign? As I'm sure you already know, hitting that like button really helps us out, and if you're new here, subscribing is a good idea because we put out videos like this every single day. As always, thank you for watching, we really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.